Hello everyone. Let us look into the another mode of execution, that is sale of property. We have seen that attachment of property can be done in execution and sale of property can be done even without attachment also. So, what are the general provisions relating to sale of property has been discussed under Order 21, Rule 64 to 94 and Section 65 to 73. We will be dealing with the general provisions relating to sale of property. Now, what is the power of court under Rule 64 and 65? The power of the court is stated in Rule 64 and 65. It says that any court which is executing a decree may order that whichever property is attached by this court and which is liable to sale, may order that whichever property is attached by it and that property is liable to sale shall be sold, and the court can also order that the proceeds of the sale shall be paid to the party who is entitled to receive the same. It also mentions that every sale in execution of a decree shall be conducted by an officer of the court, and that also by public auction. This is stated in Rule 65. Rule 66 and 67 speak about proclamation of sale. That is, whenever the property is ordered by the court to be sold by public auction, then the court shall cause the proclamation of that particular sale to be taken place to be made in a language of the court. So, the proclamation should be drafted in the language of the court and the court shall cause it to be published. This proclamation shall be drawn up after notice to the decree holder and the judgment debtor. What are the things which should be contained in the proclamation? These are the contents of the proclamation according to Rule 66 subclause 2. First of all, the proclamation should mention the time of the sale and the place of the sale of the property. Secondly, what is the property, the details of the property, or whatever part of the property is to be sold, the details of that. Thirdly, if that property is assessed to revenue, then if any revenue is assessed upon the property has to be stated in the proclamation. Then the proclamation should also state the encumbrances, if any, to which that property is liable. Suppose the property is having any encumbrance upon it, that has to be stated in the proclamation. Then the proclamation has to state what is the amount to be recovered from the property and any other thing which the court thinks that it is material for a purchaser of the property to know, so that he can judge the nature of the property or value of the property and decide. So, for that whatever thing is necessary, the court may say that these things have to be mentioned in the proclamation. So, Rule 67 speaks about the further requirements of the proclamation. That is, the proclamation must be made by beat of drum or any other customary mode which is prevailing in that particular area, and a copy of the proclamation must be affixed on a conspicuous part of the property which is to be sold, and also on a part of the courthouse, and if necessary, that means if the property is assessed to revenue, then it should be also affixed in the collector's office. Rule 67 subclause 2 says that this particular proclamation has to also be published in the official gazette or in the local newspaper or in both, if the court directs that it should be so. This object of the proclamation is that it is obvious that once it is proclaimed, the intending purchasers can look into the information of the property, can get all the material information of the property, and therefore their interests are protected. Also, it protects the interests of the judgment debtor, because the judgment debtor also gets a proper price for his property. Nobody can defraud him by buying the property at a lesser price just because it is in execution proceedings. So, the proclamation helps the judgment debtor to secure a proper price for his property. This was stated in Deshbandhu Gupta versus N.L. Anand in 1994, where the object of the proclamation of sale was mentioned by the Supreme Court. In the same case, the court said that any sale which is conducted without publication of the proclamation is not only an irregularity, it cannot be brushed away, it is a nullity. Therefore, a proclamation is mandatory. In Lalchand versus ADJ in 1997, the Supreme Court said that No action of the court or its officer should be such as to give rise to criticism that it was done in a casual manner. That means, if in a case the officers of the court conduct the sale in such a manner that a person who looks into the sale comes to know that it is not done properly or it is in a casual manner, then also that particular sale cannot be a proper sale. That was stated in Lanchan versus ADJ. That means, where proclamation was done just for namesake, and when the sale was conducted, when the person was conducting the auction, only 4 or 5 people were there and the sale was done and the property was knocked down. In such case, that is in Lanchan versus ADJ, the court said that this is not a proper sale, or this is not done by proper publication of the proclamation. Proclamation has to be published in such a manner that it protects the right of the judgment debtor and also of the intended purchaser. So, what is the time of the sale? Rule 68 says that unless the property ordered to be sold is perishable, or the court thinks that the expense of keeping it in custody is likely to exceed its value, then without the consent in writing of the judgment debtor, no sale can be conducted before 15 days in case of immovable property, and in case of movable property before 7 days from the date of proclamation in the courthouse. That means, when the sale is proclaimed in the courthouse, this time limit has to be observed. Then, whether the sale can be adjourned. Rule 69 subclause 1 says that the court has a power to order adjournment of any sale to any other specified day or hour in its own discretion. Also, 69 subclause 2 says that if the sale is adjourned for more than 30 days in this manner by the court, then it is required that a fresh proclamation should be issued unless the judgment debtor waives the requirement and allows it. Then, whether the sale can be stopped. Rule 69 subclause 3 says that if the property is to be sold in auction and before that property is knocked down, some person comes to the place and tenders the debt and costs of that particular auction to the officer who is conducting the sale, or he pays that amount to the court, then immediately the sale shall be stopped. So, the stoppage of sale can be done before the property is knocked down, not after it is sold. Then, what is the effect of default by the purchaser? This has been stated in Rule 71. Rule 71 says that any deficiency of price which may happen because of the purchaser's default, that means when he purchases the property, suppose he has defaulted in payment or any other reason, then if there is a resale conducted because of that and the price has not been tendered which is proper, or there is a deficiency of price, then all such expenses of the resale and any deficiency can be recoverable from the defaulting purchaser. Then there are some restrictions on certain persons to bid in the sale. First of all, Rule 72 says that a decree holder cannot purchase the property sold in execution of his own decree unless he obtains the express permission of the court. Then, suppose the court gives him permission, then he is entitled to a set off, and if he does without the permission of the court, that means he purchases the property without the court allowing him to or permitting him to do so, then the court has a power to set aside the sale if the judgment debtor applies for that purpose, or any other person whose interests are affected by this particular sale applies to the court, then the court may set aside the sale if the decree holder himself purchases the property without the permission of the court. Then Rule 72A says that if there is a mortgagee of an immobile property, he cannot purchase the property which is sold without leave of the court. When the leave is granted by the court, then the court shall also fix a reserve price, so that the mortgagee may not take undue advantage and try to knock out the property or buy the property at a lesser price just because he is the mortgagee and he is interested in that particular possession of that particular property. Rule 73 says that any officer or any other person who is having any duty to perform in connection with that sale in execution, he cannot attempt to acquire any interest whether directly or indirectly in that property. Suppose he does so, the court has a power to set aside that particular sale. As a summary, we can say that the general provisions relating to sale of property in execution mention all the requirements and details and also the conditions when a sale is affected by the court in execution. That is, the sale may be of movable property or immovable property of the judgment debtor. These are the provisions which protect the interests of the purchaser and also the interests of the judgment debtor along with the decree holder. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you have liked it, please share it with anyone who you think would be interested. Please leave your comments and I would be happy to reply to them. Do subscribe to get more information on everyday law and legal studies. Thank you.